Okay, everyone. Good evening and welcome to NJCU's EdTech Doctoral Winter Webinar Series. Again, you guys know who I am, but if you don't, my name is Melissa Wells, and I'm a doctoral student in the Cohort 10 group of NJCU's EdTech Leadership Program. I'm also the graduate assistant for the department this year as well. So again, you see my face in the beginning of these webinars as your host. So this evening, we are thrilled to have you all here today, and we're excited to share some valuable information with you from our doctoral students and also our fellow graduated doctorates that graduated from our NJCU EdTech Leadership Program. So this series is designed to provide you with the latest insights, strategies, and best practices in technology. So whether you're new to this field or you've been working in it for quite some time, we believe that you're going to find something of value here. So throughout this series, we will be covering a wide range of topics and featuring experts from the technology education fields who are going to share their knowledge and experience with you. And we're also going to be providing with you the opportunity to ask questions. And also for tonight, you're going to interact with the speaker as much as you can in the Q&A sessions and the chat box. So this evening, we are presenting Breaking Barriers for Minorities in High-Tech Fields, presented by Lamont Harris. Now, before I introduce you to Lamont again, this is a very interactive presentation, so please type the questions and your answers in the chat box underneath by your Zoom control panel, and Lamont will have time for questions at the end as well. So I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Samantha Kozar real quick to speak about the programs in our EdTech department.
Thank you so much for giving me a moment to introduce our programs and be here before we introduce Lamont to get ready for what is going to be undoubtedly a fabulous program this evening. Our internationally recognized and accredited programs are leading the field in learning with project-based strategies, emerging technologies, and standards alignment. Our curriculum throughout all of our master's and doctoral programs prepare a wide array of students for careers in corporate, government, K-12, higher education, and nonprofit. We offer proudly the New Jersey School Library of Media Specialist certification, Assistive Technology certificate, our new STEM certificate, and the New Jersey Supervisor certification. We have our Master of Arts and Educational Technology, and you can choose a project pathway for yourself that lends yourself to ascertaining a certificate of your choice, or we have our widely popular educational technology leadership degree, and that's where you see Melissa and Lamont a part of. I'm a proud alumni of this program, and it is nationally recognized and accredited, and we have been an award-winning program in a steward in online leadership for the last 20 years. If you have questions about our award-winning doctoral program, you can please feel free to email our department chair, Dr. Laura Ziegler, and Melissa will provide that contact information for you in the chat. Or if you are interested in one of our Master of Arts programs, especially the ones with the STEM certificate or the STEM certificate program individually, you can feel free to reach out to me, and Melissa will once again provide that contact information for you in the chat. Thank you so very much for availing yourself of the time this evening to be here for Lamont, and I'm going to turn it back over to Melissa and Lamont for the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kozar. All right, so again, I told you guys before, this is a very interactive presentation. So again, if Lamont does ask you questions, you could put the answers or your questions into the chat box or the Q&A box as well. And if you do want to speak, because everyone is muted, Lamont and I will be gladly to unmute you, okay? So without further ado, here is Lamont.
Good evening, all. I am Lamont Harris. I'm a proud member of Cohort 9 of the NJCU EdTech program. Also, currently learning disabilities teaching consultant and former director of technology of a small charter school. Also, I am the proud president and founder of Circle Learning Group. Circle is an acronym for Community Initiatives, Restore Community Life and education. Now that I've gotten my brief bio out of the way, I'm going to jump into the presentation. My clicker working? Yes. Okay. So tonight's objectives, we're going to discuss the key statistics of the tech industry, identify the barriers in tech as they relate to U.S. minority groups, review studies, programs, and practices combating these barriers, and take charge in what and when I say I mean we, what we can do to be involved. So before we get really into the meat of the presentation, I just want to invite you all into some discussion early on. If you scan the QR code you see on your screen, also Melissa, if you can provide that first link in the chat room now, I want to pose the question to you. What significant knowledge or skills have you gained that you use regularly in life, place of employment, or school? What occurred in that learning process that makes it so important or easy for you to recall and or utilize now? So let me just give you a few moments to respond to that. Actually, as you respond, if you follow the QR code, you'll begin to see your answers pop up here on my screen.
Okay, so everyone, the discussion link, just click on that, and that's what Lamont's talking about. It's in the chat group, okay?
Okay, yes, link is working. I see you participate typing. And it doesn't have to be like a paragraph or anything, just an informal response. What are some skills or knowledge you've gained over the year that you consistently go to use in life, work, school? Can we see the slides? Oh, thank you. Can everyone see my slides now?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So I see people are using Microsoft Office tools, using the internet, Microsoft Office. Learning from our students, being open-minded, learning to be grateful. Okay, so I want to hold on to these, and we're going to come back and see how we pull all this information in towards the end of our presentation. As I present, you can continue to respond. I know people are still coming in. So there's what is an underrepresented minority? There's a difference between being a minority and an underrepresented minority. Not to say that all minorities or even non-minorities do not have challenges of their own in the workforce, but this presentation tonight is focused specifically on the barriers that underrepresented minorities face, specifically people of color and women, and the challenges to change it. So an underrepresented minority is a group of whose percentage in the population is given a group is lower than their percentage of the population in the country. This typically falls to Hispanic and Latinx community, the African American and Black community, Native Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, and individuals of two or more races. So now I want to jump into what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly of the tech industry. First, the good. The United States tech market counts for about 35% of the total world market. Tech employees earn up to 85% more than those in all other industries. And at least almost 4 million tech jobs were available in the US as of 2022. Interesting fact, Asians, although a minority group in the US, represent about 11% of the tech industry workers, despite only making up about 5.5% of the US population. That's a good. So there are great things happening in tech. You can have a financially lucrative, successful career if you're able to enter and sustain in this marketing workforce. So the bad. As of 2021, about 73% of the tech industry were men. Experts describe this phenomenon with such a large percentage of men as a broke culture where males form their own support networks, and inadvertently, these cause women to be overlooked and go without assistance in their work responsibilities. 61% of the tech employees are white. Black workers account for about 10% of the industry, but account for 12% of the US population. And the Latinx demographic is about 17% of the US workforce, however, only account for 8% of STEM employees. And if we look, why does this matter? Hispanic STEM employee salaries fell from 85% of white STEM employees pay to about 83% since 2016 to 2019. As far as Black STEM employees, the salaries decreased from 81% of white workers in STEM income to about 78% over the same span. It actually gets worse. So we talked about the good, the bad, and here's the ugly. Only 44% of tech employees work at companies with a diversity and inclusion department. To make matters worse, 61% of tech employees worldwide believe that diversity and inclusion initiatives can be effective in the workplace. However, 14%, however, 14% of, however, 51% of CEOs and founders think that diversity and inclusion initiatives are not effective. So I want to jump into the glass ceiling for women. Women earn more than $3,000 less than men annually, and women representation is shrinking. The primary obstacle to the promotion of women is that 60 to 69% of women do not perceive a clear path at advancing their careers. Remember, I spoke about the broke culture phenomenon earlier. For every 100 men promoted in managerial tech roles, only 52 women are promoted. And Black women make up less than 5% of the tech industry. And again, the women representation is shrinking. I'll pull up an image really quick, if I can get to it. So if you look from 2010 to 2019, the lighter blue is the female representation in industry, and male. And you see that it is consistently shrinking over the last 9 years. So in 2019, women made up about 23%. In 2015, about 26%. And in 2010, about 27%. So as the years progress, the tech industry is actually getting worse for women. This may give some insight as to why 30%, 37% of Black women compared to 7% of white women report a lack of trust in their abilities to pursue their careers in the tech industry. And lastly, 10%, it is 10% more common for tech employees to quit their job due to unfair treatment compared to non-tech industries. And then within this 10%, 40% of this group are Black men who leave due to unfairness. So I just threw a bunch of figures at you, and I just want to give you a second to digest that. So while we're doing that and we're considering the figures you just heard, I want you to reflect back to your elementary self. And if for any students that may be online, you're right in line to be still big dreamers. So I want to pose the question again, and Melissa, if you can, please provide the link again in the chat. Adults and older students, think back to your elementary school days. What did you aspire to be? Younger students, what do you want to be when you're an adult? Give us some time. Respond. I see marine biologist. Oh, and I need to make this active. Are we able to respond to this? Okay, yes, populated. Thank you. A musical performer. A chef. Doctor. So I see two STEM careers. Actually, since my dissertation topic is really STEAM, so I actually see musical performer. So I see four, actually all careers would have related to STEAM, because I do believe chef would fall into the arts. Architect, another STEM career. Now, out of curiosity, I want to hear from the architect, and I want to hear from the person who, from the marine biologist. If you can just raise your hand in the chat, and Melissa, if we can allow them to unmute and let them speak. I just want to ask them a few questions before we proceed.
Okay, Kalia, go ahead.
So Kalia, are you currently a marine biologist or architect? Which career did you choose?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Good evening. No, I'm not a marine biologist. I am a social worker. I work, I provide clinical services to students at a therapeutic school.
Okay, so I'm just curious, what happened between your elementary self and your adult self or your career self now that you didn't end up in a marine biology?
Wow. So I think as passionate as I was, I think I was definitely encouraged to pursue my interest in writing and kind of humanities-based things more. And I also, I mean, I had, if I think back, I had male science teachers. I didn't really think that that was a realistic goal for me, and it definitely wasn't something that was encouraged. So I kind of ended up pursuing humanities as a career path.
Okay, I appreciate you sharing that. That actually is going to segue into my next slide, but I want to hear from the, thank you again for sharing. I want to hear from the architect. So the person who is currently or wanted to be an architect, if you can raise your hand so Melissa can unmute you, please.
Hello, Lamont.
Hello. Hey, is that my Melissa?
Yeah.
Hey, cohort 9.
Yes.
So so I know that you're not an architect because you are a fellow educator like me. However, what persisted between your elementary self and your current self that you believe are the reasons why you are not an architect now, or an
I
architect yet?
Yeah, I was told that there's a lot of math involved, and math is my weakness. So I kind of got discouraged to pursue that route. And then I kind of grew into having a lot of love and respect for teachers and the profession. So that's why I ended up being a teacher.
Wow. Um, so so from what I'm hearing from both Melissa and Kalia is that it was some discouragement. Maybe Kalia, I think she spoke to not seeing. I think you said women in biology. Were there any specific people who may have been discouraging you, Melissa, as to telling you it was a lot of math or things like that?
My uncle, who had to help me with math homework, he's like, listen, you should consider another career path because this is not for you. As far as math, like I really struggled with math.
Okay, so and not to take away from your uncle, I'm pretty sure it wasn't all out of love, but your male uncle was discouraging his female niece in the math and science in the math area. So thank you both for sharing. And this is I kind of expected some responses like this, and that's why I wanted to segue into my next section: why representation matters. How we doing on time? Yeah, great. So I'm gonna just look at the quote. Without representation, it is easy to think that your voice, your experiences, your identities do not matter. The community suffers because parts of it are neglected or ignored in decision making that directly impacts their lives. Sound familiar, Melissa? Sound familiar, Kalia? So let's look at diversity. Diversity may result in more creative solutions and improve decision making since it adds a varied views, experience, and ideals to the industry. This can help companies to better understand and meet the needs of its customers, as employees from different backgrounds may have unique insights into different market segments. Inclusion representation promotes a more welcoming workplace where all workers, even in study too. So I'm saying workplace, but this also includes a study for students. Where all workers are treated with respect and worth. This may result in better morale and more work or study satisfaction. Equity, regardless of identity, race or gender, ethnicity. Everyone should have access to work and study possibilities. Prejudice and discrimination in work and school are reduced as justice is fortified with equity. Aspirational, and I think this specifically goes to what Kalia and Melissa just spoke on. What you see, identify, connect, and relate to increase your interest and confidence in replicating it. And lastly, the financial impact of representation. According to studies, businesses and businesses with inclusive workplace environments typically do better financially. Additionally, with the 85% of the tech industry careers paying more than the average salary of all other careers, minorities being employed in this field helps to combat the socio-economic gaps and related issues many minorities face. So I want to introduce three studies in a few moments. And one is the Astronaut K-12 system, a Petrie and others of 2018, and Hirsch, others of 2019. And the reason why I chose these studies is, for one, there are specific practices that can lead to an increase in underrepresented minorities entering and remaining in the technology field. But these three studies really speak to what I believe are the foundations for creating effective change and the shift of minorities entering and remaining in the workplace. And that is the ideal of supporting minorities with community, supporting them with mentorship and role models, apprenticeship, and informal and the effectiveness of informal learning. So the Astronaut K-12 system pipeline for diversity. Hudson and Hudson in 2019 studied the Astronaut K-12 system for diversity at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, which focuses on approaches to improve access to rural high school students' STEM and higher education. Now, my research typically is focused on urban education. However, I found it necessary to include this in my presentation tonight, and here's why. In rural America, 84%, rural America are various underrepresented groups, which include the economically disadvantaged, racial and ethnic minorities, and families with low educational attainment. So, of the 199 participants at the time of this study, 84% of them were from rural locations. 68% identified as low socioeconomic families. 46% were from diverse races or ethnicities, and another 46% were first generation college graduates. So over the data suggests all 199 participants had graduated college. Of the ones that were still remaining at the time of the study, 85% were still matriculated. 95% were pursuing studies in STEM, and 69% of those who graduated either studied advanced degrees or entered careers in STEM following graduation. Those numbers are astounding. 95% of your population entering the field that they came to study from high school. All of your participants graduating from college, they're doing something good at this program. What did they do at this program? In some, it largely consisted of professional skills through weekly sessions on scientific communication, distinguished speaker luncheon series, sounds like a role model to me, training on responsible conduct of research, and long-term mentorship, quoting directly from the researchers. Individuals join in a scientific family who are pursuing similar goals, community. And the residential experience creates a supportive community. Another key factor is ascribing worth to each participant in the program, which helps individuals see their own value. With mentorship, participants achieve milestones that they did not think possible and can recall these memories along their journey to reinforce their perception of self-worth. Petrie and others, in 2018, they conducted three experiments. I'm going to speak specifically to two, to investigate how unintended consequences of gender diversity interventions on women's sense of belonging in STEM. In both experiments, they took a look at VIDS. So VIDS stands for video. Stands for video interventions for diversity in STEM. You can think of VIDS as those videos, those HR videos that you have to watch that usually run for about 20 to 40 minutes, and you have a few questions at the end to make sure that you were paying attention, and you get your certificate, you send it to your HR department, and now you're fully trained in blood-weight pathogens for the year. So VIDs specifically are those type of videos, but they are related to STEM. They're like, they come in three different fashions, either a narrative or compelling story, an expert interview or straightforward facts, or a hybrid combination of the two. What's important, the findings suggest that VIDs alone, just watching these videos alone, actually lowered sense of belonging in the sciences and have a greater negative effect and greater self-report of lower social identity threat for women. HR departments typically run to these videos as their source of training. but we're seeing that these videos are actually maybe causing harm, more harm than good. However, when these videos are coupled with a positive female scientist role model, the harmful effects of the vids, which are women's belonging to the group and trust in the scientists, were alleviated. So, video trainings have a very strong presence in the industry as a tool for many HR departments. But these videos alone actually can be doing more harm than good. So the key is establishing a role model figure for at least women in this study. And our last research that I wanted to present tonight is Hurst and others in 2019, where they analyzed how effective informal STEM learning activities may be in developing young learners' potentials and increasing the number, quality, and the diversity of future STEM professionals. They took a specific look at informal learning, which is characterized by as being engaging in social learning that encourages students' natural curiosity, inquiry, and experimentation. So you could think of it as a hands-on exhibit at a museum, the maker space at a library, or even just talking about math while reading a book at home. Those are all informal learning experiences. The authors suggest 3 recommendations that actually advance the impact of informal STEM learning on young learners. The first is to integrate cognitive science-based learning practices. Excuse me. How do we do that? We incorporate language, structural alignment, and gesture directly into the learning experience. For example, structural alignment can be facilitated by the design of interactive spaces where learners can see and manipulate models made by the staff or other visitors at like a museum, and or incorporate language and questions that focus on underlying STEM themes that promotes learners' higher order thinking. You also want to provide training to the adults and other facilitators in informal spaces. Many children, early informal learning experience occur with parents, siblings, coaches, librarians, and other informal teachers. We want to promote and find opportunities to provide professional development for these informal teachers on how they can incorporate high quality language, structural alignment, and gestures into their interactions with their younger learners. And again, I want to support parents in the moment with prompts. Parents can use these prompts and practices and engage in high quality informal teaching by having the prompts and information in settings where learning is likely to take place. For example, designing a school display in the hallway or bulletin boards in the hallway that encourage parents to connect with multiple pieces of a display that make these connections more natural. We can put prompts in surprising places like a grocery store or a public park, and the signage, like a signage by fruits and vegetables that direct parents and children to increase conversation in the grocery store about math or science. In a park, maybe the exercise park, what kinesthetic or what's happening in the science way of this exercise, to have the children increase their STEM talk during play. The second recommendation is to increase the accessibility and diversity of informal STEM experiences. We want to facilitate access to and inclusivity of existing places. This requires a multifaceted approach that includes the following: free and or reduced access to spaces. So your museum, your after school club, all these other places that informal learning is occurring. Hopefully it's free, or it's reduced, or it's in a way that many can access. You want to use multiple language, diverse hiring strategies, and establish a community partnership in public spaces that families typically visit such as the grocery store, retail stores, and so on. If the spaces do not exist, create the space. Is actually where my dissertation topic is going to align. STEM engagements can be further promoted by creating opportunities in informal learning by regular use for families. Think of parks, bus stops, local businesses, and just pop-up places where you can engage in STEM. I'm sorry, I'm just looking in the chat. I thought I saw something. Okay, so pop-up travel exhibits are ideal too. So just getting off topic a little bit, but staying on topic, I plan to build a mobile STEAM lab and encourage STEAM informal education at local library churches within the community, so students and families in the community can access formal technology curriculum in an informal means. And the third recommendation, I'm sorry, I skipped implement. So we also want to implement a community-based design and partnerships. And again, that's just going out into community and working with the different retail stores, the different community organizations, and encouraging discourse between the two to encourage access, diversity, and inclusion with STEM learning, and technology learning. And the last recommendation from Hearst is to create direct connections and coherence between formal and informal STEM. So we're bridging the gap here. We want to connect with parents with informal and informal learning establishments. So schools and informal learning spaces should provide information and support to families about the ways parents and caregivers can promote STEM activities and learning for their children. Example, providing visitors with information and pamphlets or email formats and ways to continue STEM learning at home. Also want to connect across settings. So field trips, other connected activities. Basically, we want the schools to connect with their local informal learning spaces and the local informal learning spaces to connect with the schools. So there's a cross communication where they're providing access and information about the various programs happening in the school, or vice versa, the various programs that happen in the community, and everyone is aligned on what's happening and to better engage with STEM. Whew, it's a mouthful. So earlier I did speak about community, about mentorship and role models and informal learning. So I just want to quickly discuss community. So what is community? According to Lee and Winger, a community, and I'm going to be more formal, a community of practice is a group of people who share a common interest or passion and who come together to learn from each other and develop their skills and knowledge in a particular domain. Communities of practice are characterized by their shared experiences, shared resources, and shared language or jargon, which enable members to communicate and collaborate effectively. They can exist in both physical and virtual environments. They can be formed from casual friendships to formal corporations. They also present in many different fields, from business, education, healthcare, and so on. What are the benefits of communities? Learning and tangible persons. So learning and development of a platform members can learn from each other through their shared experiences, knowledge, and best practices. Authentic connections. Having a sense of belonging and social support from their members where they can share their challenges, success, interests, which can help reduce feelings of isolation and increase motivation. Members also develop a shared identity in which can increase their sense of commitment to their work, study, and the community, as well as provide a sense of pride in their field. Aspirational. Innovation and creative can enhance and the space where members share and develop new ideas and approaches together. Members also collaborate and contribute to the development of new knowledge and improvement in performance. Participation in the community can lead to improved performance. Members can apply knowledge and skills they learn from the community to their work, which can lead to better outcomes and increased job and study satisfaction. So mentors. A mentor is we can describe as an experienced individual who provides developmental assistance to a protege, shares knowledge, information, and advice that helps the mentee develop key skills and understandings that promotes their career advancement and guides personal growth. A few benefits of mentorship: career development. Mentors can provide guidance on career decisions, help their proteges identify career goals, and provide opportunity for skill development and advancement. Personal growth. They can help the mentee develop a better understanding of themselves, their strengths and weaknesses, and how to overcome obstacles. The network benefit. Gain access to valuable networking opportunities, connections that help them advance their careers. Increased job satisfaction, emotional support, and encouragement is gained from the mentor, which can help the mentee feel more satisfied and engaged in the workplace or in study. Enhanced competencies. Mentors can share their expertise and knowledge with their protege, helping them acquire new knowledge and knowledge that can be applied to their current and future roles and goals. And lastly, improve performance. Mentorship can provide feedback and guidance that helps a mentee improve their job performance and achieve their goals. On this slide, I do have a YouTube video attached. Melissa, at the end, they're already there. I'm going to ask that you not look at the video now because I think this one's about 5 minutes and the next one on the next slide is about 8 minutes. But on your own time, I do want you to take a look at these videos just to get some reinforcement of the things I talked about on this slide. Thank you. Role models. A role model is a person you respect, follow, look up to, or want to be like, whose behavior in a particular social setting is imitated by others, especially younger learners. Benefits of having a role model: inspiration and motivation. Role models can serve as a source of inspiration and motivation, helping individuals set and achieve their goals. Clarification of their values. Role models can help individuals clarify their values and priorities and identify the behavior and attitudes that they want to emulate. Helps to build self-confidence. You build self-confidence by providing examples of success and demonstrating that it is possible to achieve their goals. Broader perspectives. Role models can help expose individuals to new ideas, perspectives, and experiences that they may have not encountered otherwise, broadening their worldview. The benefits of personal growth, where a role model can serve as a source of guidance and support, helping individuals develop their skills, overcome obstacles, and achieve their fullest potentials. And lastly, better decision making. A role model can provide guidance and insight that helps individuals make better decisions, particularly in challenging and uncertain situations. And again, there's a YouTube video here that the link has been provided in the chat that I do want you to take a gander at when you have some time. So our last key takeaway I want to go with from the studies we discussed is informal learning, and this is specifically targeting our younger learners, but we are always learning, so this can apply to adults as well. So informal education can be defined as a specific way of learning novel things, which usually involve from evolves from the interests and activities of people or groups. It can be thought as the acquisition of knowledge and or skills that occurs, usually initiated or sought out by the learner outside of a formal classroom. The manner of learning outside of a traditional curriculum or school varies largely by the activity, but it typically can involve reading, listening, discussing, viewing, or doing. Having a strong sense of enjoyment and a sense of choice prompts individuals to learn by making, sharing, and engaging with the learning materials. Learners may benefit most when the informal learning involves social interactions with other peers or facilitators that require them to explain their thinking, ideals, and problem solving. So if you just look at the figure, students only spend about 14% of their life in school, 33% sleeping, and 53% home and community. So there are more informal learning opportunities there than there are formal learning opportunities. And here are the benefits for informal learning. Improved cognition function. Research suggests that engaging in informal learning activities is linked to improved cognitive function, including memory, problem solving, and creativity. Personal growth and development is aided by informal learning, whereas individuals explore new interests, discover new perspectives, and develop new skills. Increase motivation and engagement over formal learning, because learners have more autonomy and choice over what they learn, how they learn it, and when they learn it. If you recall, I asked you to watch 2 YouTube videos following this presentation. If you actually do proceed to watch those videos, you are engaging in informal learning. Enhanced social connections. Informal learning typically involves interacting with others, which can lead to a stronger social connection and sense of community. You see the word community is a very prolific theme throughout my presentation, and we're going to pull it all together at the end. And flexible and adaptable. As people are exposed to a wide range of concepts and experiences, informal learning can aid individuals in developing flexibility and adaptability in their thinking and approach to new situations. So that concludes most of my presentation. I do want to open up the chat here for some conversation, for some Q&A. However, I did want to quickly jump back to my first discussion question. I can get to it here, and I'm going to see if I can open that question back up. Okay, so what significant knowledge and skills have you gained that you use regularly in life, a place of employment, and school? What do you think occurred in the learning process that now makes it so important or easy for you to recall and or utilize those skills? So if you didn't get a chance to reply earlier, I'm going to ask you to now, and I actually want to open up to questions, or actually if you can raise your hand, if you can share a specific skill or a specific piece of knowledge that you are using in your place of work or in your place of study or just in your daily life. And I'm going to try to help it connect back to the importance of community, role models, mentors, and formal learning. So do we have any hands yet?
Lamont, so for this question, I wanted to just say, I think the knowledge that I acquired when I started teaching, and this was 16 years ago, I feel it was more patience with students. Because I remember when I started teaching, I had no patience. Like I had no idea how to run a classroom full of 40 students that weren't paying attention. And I feel that the learning process helped me with being patient for each individual student.
So, were there any specific individuals or specific experiences that you think help you acquire a sense of gaining patience?
It's a
Like, did
couple
you
of
have
classes.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I wasn't giving chances for students to speak up or to give them more time because I didn't realize how every student is different. And I feel like
Mhm.
that as a first year teacher, we don't really understand that when we go to college and we take all these classes, to teach, but then when you're not in the classroom, you don't fully see this until you're in the classroom. So I just felt that having the knowledge going into the classroom, it made me understand how to be patient with everyone.
So, to me, I hear that that was a flexible and adaptable informal learning experience
Yes.
that helped you gain that patience. I thank you for sharing, and I'm just trying to pull this all together. And they also want to share a specific skill or a piece of knowledge that they recall utilize on the regular. Okay, I'm going to treat some of you like my classroom, my students, and call on someone. There you go, volunteer. Thank you.
Hello. So one main skill that I learned that has really helped me throughout my career is and I manage a lot of staff, is performance management and the utilization of positive and sometimes negative reinforcement and progressive discipline to be able to help to grow people in their perspective disciplines.
Now, were these skills that you, and if we just keep speaking, were these skills that you picked up in the classroom? Was it a specific individual you may have learned from? Someone may have coached you into gaining these? Were there specific experiences?
Yes, there was actually, it started in a classroom setting when I was working at a particular company, and we had many trainings because they were a nonprofit. They got grants and ongoing training. And I sat in that class, but from that, it totally changed the trajectory of my career because from there, I was able to have a complete system of growing people. And because of that, I was able to move up in my career. So, it's just, it started in the classroom setting, but just having that natural ability with people and then having those actual skills and meshing those together, I was able to mentor and grow people to their fullest capacity, helping people move from like a regular staff to management to upper management throughout my career.
Okay, so what I hear is because you had some informal learning experiences, and it sounds like a mentor type figure, you were able to become an actual mentor and role model type figure to someone else and have them access you for informal learning. Um, and,
Absolutely.
and this is what I'm trying to hit on as the keys to actually breaking barriers for minorities in technology. If we can create the community, if we can create the role models and the mentors, and if we can establish a system where informal learning is ongoing, we can start to see these figures, the good, the bad, the ugly, all go into the favor of minorities for a well-rounded technology industry. Just before I leave, these things are happening, and there are some communities already established. And there are some great programs happening locally and nationally, especially for women and minorities in the tech field. And I have a resource link page in the chat, and I think I hope it's displaying now where it says mobile STEM, STEAM, and makerspace communities at the top. And just want to confirm that that is there by saying yes in the chat. Do you see that on your screen? Yes, okay. So if you take a look at this resource page, and I'm not going to go through it now, there are a few resources and I'm going to continue to add on this in the future. But if you're looking to gain access to the communities or some role models, some mentorship, or some informal learning experiences specifically around the STEM and tech field, there are a few here that are that you should engage in. And hopefully in the near future, you'll be coming around to the Circle Learning Group's mobile STEAM lab, and we'll be helping to facilitate some informal learning throughout the New Jersey urban areas in the near future. So this does conclude my presentation for the night. I want to thank you all for joining me and participating. There is one last link that I asked you to click on, and as my feedback, I do like to know how I did, how I can improve, and how you receive the information and presentation. Again, I thank you for joining me tonight, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Lamont, thank you so much. Okay, everyone, all the links are in the chat. So if you want to click on them now, because we're actually going to be ending this now, so you're not going to be able to see those links. All right, Lamont, great job. I can't wait to read this Google Docs. Great job. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. Have a good night, everyone.